Hi everyone, my name is Faraz and I am an undergraduate teaching assistant for Anatomy and Physiology 1, and today we are going to talk about saltatory conduction. And if you don't remember what that is, maybe this will jog your memory. So let's orient ourselves. Here we have the dendrites, then here we have the body, and then here we have the axon. So the area of the axon, that's where the magic of saltatory conduction happens. So as I mentioned previously in my videos and in lab, the name can give you insight as to what we're talking about. So saltatory conduction. Ignoring saltatory for just a second. I have to talk a little bit loud because of the wind, but that's fine. Saltatory conduction. Ignoring saltatory for a second. When I hear the word conduction, I think of electricity. And this is appropriate because with saltatory conduction, the action potential of the signal, it's progressing forward. Now, saltatory. In Spanish, saltar means to jump or to skip. And that is why at the beginning of the video, I jumped over this gate. And to my friends at home who know me, who think that I would just make this video so that I had a reason to jump in it, you're right. And I'll touch back on this towards the end of the video. So as I said previously, saltatory conduction happens here. One common misconception is that people think it's axon, myelin sheath, axon, but this is misleading because the myelin sheath is actually covering the axon. So in actuality, it's axon, more axon, but that part of the axon is covered by a myelin sheath and then an axon. To be even more specific, it goes axon, then an axon covered by the myelin sheath, and then a node of Ranvier, which is just the gap between the myelin sheaths, and then a myelin sheath covering parts of an axon, and so on. So you might be asking, how does a barrier speed up a signal? Well, picture this. So picture this. Imagine that you are a celebrity on the red carpet. And on the red carpet, to your sides, you have fans. And because you're such a nice celebrity, you appreciate that your fans are taking time to come see you, to come interact with you. And so, as a celebrity, you want to sign everyone an autograph or high-five them or give them a hug. Doing this for one or two fans wouldn't be that bad, but doing this for everyone would be time-consuming. So you appreciate that there is this barrier that prevents you from interacting with those fans. So because that there is this barrier, it means that you can walk faster. So I continue walking. Eventually there is this gap. There's no barrier here, no gate here. So here is where I would actually interact with those fans. And then I continue forward. And again, there's another barrier that prevents me, that gives me an excuse not to interact with my fans. So take a second to pause, but I want you to think, how does my red carpet story relate to saltatory conduction? Okay, so let's break down my red carpet story and relate it to saltatory conduction. So the red carpet would be in this case, the sidewalk, very fancy, high budget film. That would represent the axon. And the myelin sheaths, that would be represented by the barrier by the fence. And if we walk this way, and again, we can speed up because I don't have to interact with my fan. This gap where there's fence, no fence, and fence, where there's no fence, that represents the node of Ranvier. And here, in the red carpet stories where I interact with fans. So in saltatory conduction, you would have your ions, your voltage gated channels, specifically sodium and potassium voltage gated channels. Towards the end, you would have calcium voltage gated calcium channels. But anyways, in saltatory conduction and the nodes of Ranvier, here is where you would interact with your fans. And like the red carpet, it takes time to sign autographs, and also takes time to open a channel and for ions to diffuse across the electrochemical gradients. Speaking of myelin sheaths, people who have multiple sclerosis, their myelin sheaths are degenerating. And because myelin sheaths is also known as MS, and myelin sheaths, MS, I can make that association, and that connection helps me understand a little bit about multiple sclerosis, myelin sheaths, and saltatory conduction in general. And if you are wondering where you can find nerves with myelin sheaths, think about where you can find Schwann cells and oligodendrocytes. So I've talked long enough. Some general advice: connect the things that you learn in class to things in your personal life. This is my elementary school, and these gates, this is what I've jumped over for years. It is because I connected saltatory conduction to these gates that this is ingrained in me, that I remember saltatory conduction a whole year later. I hope that you found this video helpful, and until next time, this is Fraz, signing out.